Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Show. I'm Scary, your grateful host, and this is the show I do every Monday when I'm not dying. Which, yeah, last week was rough. I literally was passed out for about an entire week. I slept for 3 days, and even over the weekend, I was like, I even have like this ongoing cough. I got it from my kid, I think. He was sick about a week before I was, and made me feel like poop. But I'm alive, so we skipped basically last week. I was a ghost, and I have returned. And of course, the Monday show is one of my favorite shows every week, where I get to sit here and answer all of the patron questions that I have compiled over the course of the week. And then we discuss a variety of different things. As you can tell, I am definitely a scruff. I am alive, though. Kids equal petri dishes. Mine have tried to kill me for years. I understand. Hey, Cosmic First. Nice. The Misery. Hello, Misery. What's going on? Cheetos. What's going on? Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming to hang out with me today. I'm excited. I'm back on track. I feel like I'm finally back on track. I filmed a battle report today, my Drukhari Sky Splinter, my new version of the list versus some Astra Militarum, practicing for the All Is Dust tournament that's happening this weekend. I'm also painting a Lilith Hesperax, the actual new Lilith, so I've finally started working on her, so I'm very excited. Hopefully I'll have her done for the weekend. That's my plan. It's also my son's birthday on Wednesday, which is exciting. He's going to be 12, and then we're going to be going paintballing in a month. For his birthday, we're inviting all his friends and stuff. We're going to go paintballing. It's going to be really, really entertaining. So I don't know if he's more excited about it or I'm more excited about it. But in that, welcome. Now, this is a live show. Of course, live shows are pretty crappy on my on the YouTube channel because they don't really get the broadcast algorithmic catch that like a battle report does. So if you'd like to leave a comment, thank you, I appreciate it. Like the video if you want, share it with your friends, give it some traction. Usually these videos are behind the patron paywall because it is a patron thing. But every once in a while I open the vaults and I do one for everybody so you can kind of participate and see what it feels like to miss out on it, because we do this every week. And if you want to support me on Patreon, it's the best way to continue to help me do what I do. The link, of course, is in the description. For the Emperor. Good day, Ian. What's going on? Keep up the great work, mate. Always enjoy your content, especially your bat reps. So I'm glad you enjoy the bat reps. Try hard, Eddie. Thank you very much. I do have a lot of fun filming the bat reps. Like, they're definitely a specific style of bat rep where it's like very much more like educational rather than just like straight up like entertainment value. Like, I guess they are entertaining, but they're designed to sort of like maybe teach something or kind of showcase or go through the thought process, right? And some people find that very useful. Some people, don't, and that's fine too. It's definitely not as like high production value as some of the other bat rep things out there, but I hope you enjoy it as well. Hey, Pump. Yeah, I know. Up and running again. Up and running. Oh, yeah, I know. I do feel alive, which I guess is a good thing. Anyway, let's dive into some of these questions, shall we? I've rambled on for about 5 minutes, which is about on point for my shenanigans. But let's dive in. So, and by the way, I am answering questions in chat, every once in a while. Chetos asks, in a meta full of Custodes, should I go back to the old detachment triple Talos, or are we better with the new detachment? I don't think you should make that decision based on one meta choice. I think it has to be based on the, like, how you feel when playing any of those. Man, my head, like, look at that. It looks... Anyway, sorry. I feel like my head is, like, really weirdly... Oh, is that because of this? Oh, that is because of my headset. It's really making my head look really odd. Anyway, but yes, Chetos, I don't think you should make that decision based on Custodes. I think you should make that decision based on your playstyle. Now, are Talos good? against Custodes. Yeah, they're probably one of the only things we have that like can withstand the Custodes onslaught. You know. However, I don't think they need to be in the old detachment to like to be that. Like the -1 to wound is nice and all, but I think it's mainly because they're decent toughness and have a 5-up feel no pain that makes like the Custodes very inefficient at killing them. The -1 to wound is pretty good though, but like I'd miss so much stuff. Like I'd miss being able to move my transport, disembark, and charge. You know, even if I'm running Talos, I'd still want to run Sky Splinter because Sky Splinter is just better in almost every sense of the imagination. As for the meta being full of Custodes, I think it's more in playstyle that you have to change. Like you can't just bully the middle of the board when Custodes are around, and depending on the mission, it can be very tough to deal with them because if you're playing like supply drop, good luck. Especially if they go second. It's like that's like how does a Custodes ever lose that mission? Really? Like, please give me, other than getting tabled by something, like you just go, oh, is that the objective that's going to remain for the entire game? It would be a shame if 30 Custodian Guard made their way over there. Filth is what I say. Absolute filth. Anyway, but I hope that answers your question, Chetos. Raul asks, hey, Scary, ended up winning against my friend on the weekend who brought Thousand Suns. 90 to 18. You didn't just win, you crushed his soul. Thanks for your advice from Friday. You're very welcome. I will take full responsibility for your victory. He did bring Magnus and a whole bunch of Rubric Marines with sorcerers. He was able to take down Magnus by round 2 by focus firing my 13 Dark Lances on him. Magnus will die. Magnus will die, so killing Magnus is important. From there, the game became relaxed, and a lot of my shooting and Archons with Incubi mopped up the rest to a turn 4 tabling. Yeah, sounds about right. Taking the heavy weapons from both units of cabs on the Raider was great. Also, this time my playstyle was more cagey in rounds 1 and 2, which I think I'll continue to do moving forward. Good. You definitely don't want to lose too many tools early in the game. Anyways, my couple of new questions are: any advice for winning against Death Guard? Going up against another friend who in the past brought Plague Rust Crawlers and Bloat Drones, which make things very hard. So, deploy all your Scourge and kill the Bloat Drones if you can. Like, they're like Rhino. You have to kill Rhinos, you have to kill Plague Drones. And if they give you Mortarion, you can kill Mortarion in a single turn, unless your name is Zach, and you can roll all of the invul saves on Mortarion forever and ever, because apparently Mortarion just refused to die that one game that I played against him. But usually you can take the same as like Magnus. Just like if he gives you Morty early on in the game, just like kill Morty, and then the Plague Risk Crawlers become less dangerous with the ability to ignore modifiers, right? Which I think is a massive part of those Plague Risk Crawlers. And if the Plague Risk Crawlers are shooting the Scourge, like statistically speaking, it takes like at least like 2 units of Plague Risk Crawlers to kill 5 Scourge. So in order to kill all 15 Scourge just with Plague Risk Crawlers, it's going to take him 2 to 3 turns worth. And if he's doing that, he's not shooting Venoms. And killing the Venoms is actually more powerful than killing the Scourge. Yep. Hey, Falls, what's going on? 4++ is a skill. I know it is, Cosmic. No. Why? It is. It's like, it's one of the reasons Custodes is so dumb. Like, if Custodes went to a 5-up invul, I feel like that would be more reasonable. But a lot of the Terminator stuff is like 4-ups, right, for Terminators, so, whatever. Number 2, I only have one 40k army, my Drukhari. And I might only get about 1 game in a week, which I feel isn't enough. So I practice on my own by splitting my army, making units equal on both sides. Do other people do this? Are there any other ways you'd recommend so I can get more practice? TTS, Tabletop Simulator, Raul. Download Tabletop Simulator on Steam, and then find people to play with online. I think that's usually one of the best ways to do it. And the cool thing about TTS is you can like play a turn or two save the game and then come back to it, right? So if you only have a couple hours to kill and you're like practicing a list concept or whatever, there's tons of resources online that you can get to. We are just about to start our patron. We did a patron league, a 4-round, 24-player patron TTS league. We're just about to start a new one. So there's tons of Discords out there that run tabletop simulator leagues or little tournaments, so you can get an extra game in every week or whatever it works. So I highly recommend that to get your games in if you want to practice against more different people as well. 2++ is a skill. 4++ is just luck. Oh, now we're gonna be seeing if it's about the shadow field. Is that what we're all doing? Could use cardboard cutouts as whatever other army to want to play against. I used to do cutouts back when we used to play Poorhammer when we were really young, when I was still in high school. We couldn't afford models, so we would photocopy the hobby sections of the codexes and cut out all the things and have them as little models and stuff, which used to be really, really fun. But hopefully that answers your question, Raul. Yeah, and good job playing as your friend. Good, I'm glad you had fun. On to the next one, Daniel Alfonso. What do you think about a list with a Tantalus? 15 Cavalites with weapons inside. I don't know what you think about the Tantalus because his resistance. So don't know what you meant at the end there. However, I like the Tantalus. Actually, this weekend, there was a Tantalus on stream at an event, like a 200-person event. Yeah, not bad. I really, really like the Tantalus. I think it has a lot of potential, especially in Sky Splinter, because you can give it the 4+ feel no pain. As for the 15 like weapon Tantalus, like just a little gunboat, you need 3 venoms to pull that off, right? So you're going to take the venoms anyway, but then you need 30 Cabalites. That's where it gets a little spicy. I honestly think you don't need it that much. Like, I feel like you can get the same sort of results with just like 10 strong with the court and an Archon and a Tantalus, and then give the Archon the thing where when you empower the Archon's unit, you can empower the Tantalus for free. So it's like you get 2-for-1 pain token there, which I think is really, really cool. Or you give them the stealth that hold you within 6 inches of the transport, which can also be handy. The thing about the Tantalus is it's so damn big that on some tables it's like very tough to play with, like play around. Like if you played it on WTC tables, like sometimes there's just nowhere to kind of move it because it's got a big butt, okay? It's got a big caboose to move around. It's like how do you move those giant blades around buildings? You just don't. Now if you're playing player place terrain or Games Workshop style layouts, it's a more forgiving and you can definitely make it work. However, I still actually want to try it. That's my next concept. I'm doing this concept right now with Lilith and Witches, and then I'm going to be flipping maybe to a Tantalus build. So stay tuned to that as I continue to develop more awesome stuff. But I do like the idea of a gunboat Tantalus. It's not like it's cool. It just requires you to have line of sight to things to make it work. So that's where it gets tough. Is most people just hide behind a wall, and then the Tantalus just doesn't do what you thought it would, right? That's why no one brings a Thunderhawk, right? Although you do see these new Space Marine lists with all the crazy Storm Raven gunships, right? Because they fly in, they just like, and they just blow everything to bits. Gwen asks, "Hey, Scary. Hello. How did your Hellions perform in the Witches list?" They did great. The bat rep is up already. I really enjoyed them. I used 3 units of 5. They were good. They were good. They were okay. I saw a few live at the end. Yeah, they survived. They did their job. I think with a pain token, they were quite handy with the 2 AP. Like 2 AP made them. They killed stuff, right? I wish they just had Lance as like a rule, so that when they charged, their strength 4 like actually did some damage. By the way, a friend wants to train for nationals against Drukhari. I better stay Sky Splinter as it should be more represented than Real Space Raid in the meta. Yes. Yeah, I do feel you're going to see Sky Splinter way more than Real Space Raid. He plays Imperial Knights and Space Wolves. Yeah. So if you want to help your friend practice, definitely Sky Splinter is what I would recommend. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. On to the next one. Pump asks, how's your Swedish? It's not good. I said it's not good in Swedish because I left you a message on the Discord and I translated it into Swedish saying it's not good. But I don't know how to say that in Swedish off the top of my head. So maybe I need to go to Sweden and then learn some Swedish. And, it'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be good times. Taffy asks, in your stream game against the Death Guard, you used an Archon and Incubi to contest the center early and score a secondary. Is it normally the unit you use for this task? I was surprised you didn't use the Reaver jet bikes. Yes, the key I used it in that matchup was because I wanted to force him to try and deal with my Archon early. I basically, because we were playing Sites of Power, I put my Archon and Incubi up there. Number one, because it got me onto that objective, but it forces him to shoot and or try and kill that unit. Because if not, I empower that central objective. And if I empower that central objective, it gives me 6 points, right? For controlling it and empowering it, which then gives me more points in places of power. And I knew that he was going to have to shoot stuff at it, which then took the pressure off a lot of my other units or stopped him from trying to kill other units in my army. So it was more like, look, I'm going to put it here. I've got a 2-up invulnerable save on my Archon. If he survives, great. It forces you to kind of deal with him. And that was the reason. It's not because the jet bikes would have been better. The jet bikes would have been better. It was more because I wanted to force his hand and force him to do something about it, right? Shoot them. Like, he killed all the Incubi, and then the Archon was left alive. But that was the key, is like, I needed him to put resources into killing those Incubi, and then it forced him to run something onto that objective to stop me from holding it as well. And all it did was sort of like, he had to divert resources to try and kill that unit. That's it. And that was like the main point in that game specifically. Hey, Nurgle Matthew, what's going on? We'll make it happen? Amazing. Let's go. Archon takes a minute to kill as well. Exactly. So, like, that 2-up invul can sometimes just pop off. And then your opponent's like, I got lucky that I think he wasn't in range of, like, Typhus. So Typhus rolled really crappy for the amount of mortal wounds. But it was a risky play, but it paid off at the end. Unless first save is a 1. You don't have to take the Shadow Field first, okay? You can take the armor save first. You can actually take whatever save you want for every save you make. So I usually don't take the Shadow Field until I have 1 wound left. And then I'll start taking Shadow Field saves. Especially if he's in cover. He's got a pretty decent save. Yeah, when you roll it. And sometimes he doesn't. Like, it was a couple of games in that tournament where I made like 20 Shadow Field saves, one after another, and it was really frustrating my opponent. Okay. But thank you for your question, Taffy. Army Sean says, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you. Just wanted to reiterate what a great event you ran. Well, thank you. That means a lot. I had a lot of fun. The Berry Bash, not this weekend that just happened, but the weekend previously. The 10th anniversary of the Berry Bash, which was awesome. We gave out 2 golden tickets to the World Championships of Warhammer, and it was 60 players. Only one person ended up having to drop because they had card trouble, so I ended up running, judging, and being the ringer at the tournament. And then I died for a week. let's just say that I overworked myself. But it was really fun. I had a lot of fun. Tabletop live streamed the whole event, so you can go check out the live stream that they did for both days. And next year, we already have the dates, 8th and 9th of March. And it's going to be at the same place. It's going to be fantastic, and I highly recommend. It's going to probably be 4 rounds and 2 rounds. I'm going to try and make that so there's like a dinner service on the Saturday, so you can like show up on the Saturday morning, play 2 games, we have lunch, play 2 more games, have a whole dinner service there, and then we might play like trivia and games and stuff, and it's going to be like an event. It's going to be, it's going to be really fun. Anyway, thank you. Another note, you have converted me. I'm now a big Servo Skulls fan. Servo Skulls is a fun mission, okay? Like, some people, like diehards, were like, meh, Servo Skulls. But, like, it was fine, honestly. Like, it was completely fine. It didn't, like, make or break the bank. To be honest, I think Places of Power is more imbalanced than Servo Skulls. Change my mind. It gave me great joy to watch the top players stress about having to adopt their plans, right? Yeah, they had to, like, and that's the thing. I loved people had to put in their list before I submitted, I showed off all the missions. So, like, people couldn't make mission specific list changes, right? And that was important. So you had to, like, I love that. That was great. And then we'll see, like, I'm assuming they're going to change some of the mission packs and, like, we'll see as time goes. Like, that was the plan, is for them to release, like, a mission thing every year or whatever. So hopefully we'll see what the new mission format looks like. But thank you, Sean. Really appreciate it. Servos supporter. Servo supporter, hashtag servo supporter. Too much coffee, says. I cannot figure out the T-Suns matchup. I hate it so much. That's a very passionate comment. I'd actually rather face Hypercrypt. With T-Suns, if I play cagey, they score and I get murdered. If I play aggressively, I get murdered. How the heck do I stay alive with all the double move, flamers, indirect doom bolts? How do I deal with Magnus, who can move 48 and just, murder everything? So if you have to, well, look, the first thing you need, too much coffee, is less coffee. Yep. Like that you can really hone in on the thought process. But I will say that the number one issue that I see is your mentality. And I would literally, that's what I would change, is I would change how you talk about it. Because if you don't think it's possible, it's never going to be possible. So that is the conversation you have with yourself in a bad matchup is almost more important than the matchup itself. If you do not believe that it's possible, then it's going to be very hard for you to find a solution to that problem. Now, how do I deal with Thousand Suns? Number one, not everything can indirect, right? That's fine. Doombolt is powerful, sure, but like Venoms murder Thousand Suns units pretty effectively. So do Incubi. If Magnus rears his head, I just nuke him with Dark Lances, and then he just dies. So it's about trying to keep the Scourge alive as much as possible. Yes, he's got crazy long range, and he can move 48 inches, but I kind of want, like, I would try and bait my opponent to commit Magnus. Like, come on, bring Magnus out. Bring him out so I can, like, kill him, right? Because then once he's dead, a lot of the synergies with the Thousand Suns, go down. Now, it also depends what kind of Thousand Suns list, because there's, like, a list like Tebow's list that's, like, super fine-tuned and honed, and it's all about, like, just scoring points and being very uninteractive in the scoring. And there's other more traditionals that are like more like MSU, lots of characters, etc., which is like a lot easier to sort of deal with. So it really comes down to screening. You have to screen. You can't just like rush everything, right? You need to make sure you try and hold your primary objectives and then just play to your secondaries. And then you have to make sure the game lasts the entire game, right? And then try and bait out that Magnus, and as soon as they do, like pounce on Magnus and kill him. That's 400 points you don't have to deal with anymore. That sort of thing. That's at least like how I would look at it. The flamers are really annoying, but we now have a really cool anti Overwatch like enhancement, which can be very, very handy. Also precision is very, very useful into Thousand Suns. And yes, they have lots of things where they can be like out of line of sight shooting or whatever, but you want to try and like screen out so they can't just teleport everywhere. They're going to kill a bunch of stuff, but like playing Dark Eldar, if you're playing Dark Eldar, like you're going to lose most of your army in any matchup. So you just have to make sure you score points every turn and try and kill your opponent. Like they can't score without like committing stuff, so you just have to try and like focus on the thing you want to kill one at a time and try and take it out. And if they give you Magnus, kill it. Kill Magnus dead. Kill it dead with holy fire. But I hope that helps. Too much coffee. And if you have any other questions, please make sure you reach out. Carl asks, when our Codex finally drops, what are some improvements to units you'd like to see? I want to see Lance on Hellions, and I'd like to see, I don't know. I'd like to see like Rax be a little bit more flavorful. And then maybe give sergeants, like the witch sergeant, give her back, like, give witch weapon. I want witch weapons back. I want like the net and the gauntlets, and I want like all my cool witch weapons. Like, where are my witch weapons? It'd be cool if they did stuff. You know what I mean? So, bonsoir, Guillaume. How's it going? James Stout, Magnus did nothing wrong. He did everything wrong. He did everything wrong. So that's kind of what I'd like to see, Carl. I'd like to see witches' weapons come back and stuff, yeah. Meadows says, sorry for the wordiness. Coming from a Magic the Gathering background, there are sideboards where you can bring in a couple of silver bullet cards for specific matchups to help balance the skewed meta. Yes. Do you think something like this would work in a war game? It has been done before. Maybe 125 points for 1,000 points. Special ops that you can swap out units against certain armies, but the limit of 3 still applies. Have a 4th set of Scourge, Haywire, etc. I doubt Warhammer 40k would ever do it, though Kill Team lets you do something similar with choosing loadouts for each match. How do you think this would play? Great idea, actually. It depends on the event, because sometimes they'll run events and they'll have a sideboard, but usually what will happen is you're not allowed to pick your sideboard knowing what your opponent's sideboard's going to be. So they'll be like, everybody builds a 1,500 point list, and we'll have, three 500 point sideboards. So then before the game, you go, okay, I'm playing my opponent this, and you can pick one of your 3 sideboards. You have to pick every sideboard at least once at the event, or whatever, etc., etc. So there'll be like, some sort of mechanic. And I've never actually played in something like that, but I have heard of it happening. Yeah, the thing about 40k is it can get very skewed, and there's certain things that can like rock, paper, scissors the shit out of you. So, but I think part of the charm is having bad matchups. I think that's just part of playing Warhammer. It's okay to have a matchup that's terrible for you. Get over it and just learn how to deal with it. Yeah. I think you could do it. Just, I think it's possible. You just have to play a game and have fun with it, that sort of thing. I think it would work really nicely. Xeno scum, says James. Hey, James, come on. Xeno scum, silly imperial lapdog. or is it traitorous heretic? Oh. Haha. Touche. Black Templars lead the way. No, they don't. Actually, I played Black Templars at the Bash all weekend, and it was very fun. I had a lot of fun. I built like a very simple 2,000 point list with like Helbrecht and Sword Brethren, a big brick with Grimaldus, a couple of Redemptor Dreadnoughts. It was a blast. Had a ton of fun playing it as a ringer. But hopefully that answers your question, Meadows. Okay, Phil asks, have you seen the new Dune movie yet? No. I want to do that tomorrow, actually. Have you read the books? No. Totally worth it. I can see how much the 40K franchise borrowed from it. Ah, I know. It's really cool. I did see Rebel Moon. That was really cool. That was like 40K. I enjoyed that. It's a cute little flick. I really want to see Dune 2, though. Yes, we won't. No spoilers, of course, because this is a spoiler-free zone. But I'll definitely go. My dad was a big Dune fan. He's like all about the Dune. Yes, yes. I think I read Dune back in the day when I was doing a reading competition, but I read like 500 pages a day for like 2 to 3 months. So I do not remember most of the things I read. I did win a DVD player though, back when DVD players were like the shit. Paul asks, oh no, Archon Morsand says, how do you bait Overwatch out? Or Phantasm? Or Mist of Deimos? Basically, what are you doing in the movement phase to deal with defensive stratagems? I move the most important thing first. If you're gonna bait out something, you need to do it with the thing that they're gonna use it on. That's the key. If you need to bait out Overwatch, if you need to bait out a Phantasm, well, Phantasm happens at the end of movement phase, so it's harder to like bait out. But at least you can see. So with Overwatch, if you know they're gonna try and Overwatch something, there's two ways you can do it. You can either move everything else and then not move the thing that they want to Overwatch. If you know exactly what they want to Overwatch, be like, haha, I baited you in not using Overwatch anywhere. Or you go ahead and go, well, I'm SOL, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way. You want to Overwatch? Yes, Overwatch, and then go. Okay, now I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the turn. As for Phantasm, you want to make sure you're threatening 2 or 3 different things, so that only one can get away. As for Mist of Deimos, that's like as soon as you move within 9, they have to use it or whatever. So like, I'll move. Oh, do you want to use Mist of Deimos? No. And then if they don't do it there, then maybe I just don't move anything else within 9, right? Like, it's one of those things where, like, move the thing that might, like, cause them to do it right away, and then go, are you going to do it? And they go, yes. Great. And I want to try get it out of the way as soon as possible, so the rest of my movement can then, like, focus on other stuff, right? And I think that's important. But that's usually how I do. I commit. I just commit to the game. And I don't think about it too much. Because if you do, you're giving that stratagem too much power, right? You want to be like, well, you could use Deimos here, but if you do, then I'm going to be on this objective and it's going to be uncontested. I'm going to score my secondaries. So, do you want to pull them back, or do you want to stay there and not let me score my points? So, sometimes it has to be sort of like screwed if you don't, screwed if you do kind of thing. You know, like give them a dilemma, right? Anyway, that's just food for thought. So thanks for the question. Paul asks, first turn tips for Mandrakes. When and where to deploy. In the back corner of your deployment zone, hidden away, far away from everything. Unless you're playing against something like World Eaters that have a very aggressive scout move, in which case, or like Canoptic Court that has like a very aggressive infiltrating unit that can kind of really cause some issues, in which case, one unit, maybe 2, are the things that you put in front to sort of create a little bit of breathing room for you, so you don't just get completely overwhelmed. But other than that, I usually put them in the back of my deployment zone in the corner, and I don't use them until like turn 2. But that's usually how I use them. Swollen asks, hey Scary. Hello. I would like to hear you talk about Scourges. How do you play them? I got some difficulty to move them quickly. They are kind of hard to fit together in small spaces with all the wings. I also realized with the small WTC runes, people can see little parts of the wings above. Just to know if you got some tricks with them. Thanks for all your great helping with the community. You are amazing. Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. So for Scourge, I actually try not to rely too much on my Scourge because my opponents hate them and they found great ways to mitigate them and their damage output. So number one, I try and use them as one big brick of 15 Scourge. So that's like the number one, is I try and keep them nice and together and close, especially around the Chronos in order to get the rerolls. Biggest thing about like WTC ruins is you just want to make sure that like it's all about the angles. So always pre-measuring where you want the Scourge to go next turn. So you deploy them in a position where they can move 14 and be like in a building or on a floor or something and see like this lane or that lane. There's not always going to be something to see, right? But at least you're in a position where if something comes into that sort of zone, they can kind of see down it. Secondly, with the after shoot move, so they shoot, they move, make sure that they're in a position where they can be past the wall. You definitely don't want to put them in the wall in the small ruins because they'll get seen, of course. But you can put them behind the big ruins, right? Because there's no holes on the big ruins on the second or third floor of those ruins, and they can't really be seen. So you can do something like deploy up, go down, and then go back. There's like lots of ways you can kind of use that crazy movement. And another thing is, don't be afraid to kind of get more aggressive with them. Like, move them more into the mid board where they can get better lines of sight on stuff. Considering we can actually fight in the combat phase now, having units come close to try and kill the Scourge can be good, because then we have Incubi, we have Witches, we have other things that can counter somebody trying to get around a corner to see the Scourge or try and charge the Scourge, right? We can actually counter them and kill them. And the Scourge are okay. Like, they'll kill stuff, but they're nothing to write home about. Most things have a cover save, and save on, like, 4s or 5s. So, like, you need, like, the Dark Lances don't do nearly as much as you think they will. Just a thought. And last but not least, Scarlock says, "Hi, Scary." Hello, Scarlock. "I recently played against Orks, and I had some problems managing tier 3 huge big boys. Gaz, Mazrog, Beast Boss on Squigosaur, mainly because they were accompanied by several embarked boys. Do you have any suggestions for playing against them?" Move blocking. Against Orks, move block, move block, move block, move block, move block, move block. That is literally how I win my matchups against Orks. Move block, move block. And be careful about those flash kits, because those flash kits be mean. But Mazrog can't go through walls. Neither can the Squigosaur. A single Cabalite warrior standing between two buildings can stop the Squigosaur from going anywhere. So that's like the key, is just move block. And then Dark Lances do quite well against most things, especially big Squigosaurs and stuff, and things like that as well. Try and get rid of the trucks. Try kill the trucks as quickly as you can, and then just move block. Like the little squig bombs can be a little annoying as well, so you want to be careful. You don't want to just like let this, because they can kill the screens with the squig bombs. So you do want to make sure that the screen is like substantial to like stop. But you can use venoms, you can use Cabalites, you can use a beast pack is one of the best units, because you can like literally move block half their army. But move blocking, literally move blocking, especially if you can get a good move block on when they war turn, and then they stay like there, back there somewhere. The Dark Kin. Hey, Diogo, what's going on, buddy? Hey, Voids Park, what's going on? Corey, painting Talus for my 3rd team's tournament, hoping to learn more listening, while doing so. Nice. Cool. Talus is really fun. I'm glad you're having fun. And the Dark Kin indeed, Diogo. The Dark Kin indeed, buddy. Okay, well, there you have it, folks. The Monday Show. The show every Monday for patrons that sometimes I do for the general public. Now, being a patron is the best way to support what I do and help me continue to make content. I do have 4 different Patreon levels, so if you want to check those out and all the cool perks that they involve, the link is in the description down below, as well as the bonus and exclusive patron Discord, where we hang out and do a whole bunch of stuff like play video games and do leagues and have an awesome hobby community, and and then you get to participate on things like this every single week. Of course, I'll be back on Thursday with List Crunch as well, and then this weekend I'll be out at All Is Dust, rocking out the Drukhari. Let's see if I can make some waves out there. Other than that, thanks all for hanging out with me today. I've been Scary, your grateful host, signing off until next time. Scary out. Ah, the Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.